Hello, my name is Greg Peterson. I am one of the co-founders of Jamestown Community Baseball, which operates the Jamestown Tarp Skunks in the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League. I am thrilled to introduce the book entitled Across the Seam, authored by Dave Muley. Part 1. City officials, local businessmen, the Jamestown Falcons, and the visiting Batavia Clippers marched down the first base line and through the outfield grass into shallow center field. The American flag, red, white, and blue with 48 stars, was raised on the center field pole as a bugler sounded the Star-Spangled Banner. When the anthem was over, Jamestown's mayor, Leon F. Roberts, stepped to a microphone behind the pitcher's mound and addressed the sellout crowd. "What we see here is not merely brick and mortar," Roberts said of the newly constructed municipal stadium. "It is not only a field enclosed with a fence. We see here today an enduring monument to the efficacy of civic enterprise." "I welcome the Falcons to their new home," Roberts continued. "We hope it will be the scene of many triumphs. We give them our best wishes. We give them our hearts. We pledge them our earnest support, and we know in turn they pledge to us their loyalty and their best efforts." Jamestown, New York, population 35,775, is located in the southwest corner of New York State, 60 miles from Buffalo, 120 miles from Pittsburgh, and 140 miles from Cleveland. It is the birthplace of Lucille Ball and singer Natalie Merchant. At the turn of the century, Jamestown had the highest concentration of Swedes outside Sweden and was the second largest producer of fine furniture in the United States behind Grand Rapids, Michigan. For much of its history, Jamestown has also had a professional baseball team. It was Municipal Stadium that would provide the stage for many of the triumphs Mayor Roberts predicted, as well as the failures he surely anticipated. What none of the 4,200 fans at the stadium for the inaugural game could imagine were the stories that would unfold in the next many years as a result of minor league baseball in Jamestown. One of the other articles that appeared in that first day paper was the announcement of the broadcast via radio WJTN to all those listeners who would like to see the game but will be unable to be present. This was historic. The first game of the stadium would be sponsored by the Fraternal Order of the Eagles over local station WJTN. This was just a microcosm of a large radio renaissance throughout the country as baseball and radio became very much a thing of beauty. The sports director for radio station WJTN in the 1950s was the well-known Max Robinson. For over 40 years, the Jamestown area has been blessed with the voice of Jim Roselli, yet in 1956, he teamed up with Max Robinson and became the sportscaster for the Jamestown Falcons. Jim has some early recollections.
I never did a game off the ticker tape, but I remember watching Max Robinson do ticker tape. It was interesting to see how you stay a batter or two behind and how you created the crowd noise.
How did you do it? Tell us.
Well, the background, you get the sound effects. Mm-hmm. And, of course, you know what's coming up, so you try to play accordingly. If there's a hit, you play a little crowd noise that sounds like something's going on. But I think you stayed at least a batter or two behind so that you could anticipate the excitement coming up. But that was, when you look at the pioneer days of those kind of broadcasts, it's interesting. Of course, GR had a fellow named Roger Baker, if I remember correctly, who did it, and Max came from the Buffalo area. But again, what has changed in the last few years? PA, after a year and a half experience in Harrisburg. It was 3 months in Warren, and then I heard a rumor that John Horan, who was an announcer at the time, also went to college with me at St. Lawrence, was going to go into the insurance business, and there was an opening. So I quickly called. I went up, talked to Cy, got my first full-time job. September 1951. It's February 1996, and here I am.
And your history. Baseball. Did you ever, baseball, do radio live?
Yes.
About when?
Wednesday nights.
Wednesday nights?
Wednesdays, if I remember, it was every Wednesday we did a game a week. It was sponsored by Fort Pitt Beer, and I used to love to say their slogan, Fort Pitt, that's it.
Now, were you the play-by-play?
Yes.
You were everything, or did you have two?
No, I was everything.
Mm-hmm.
I went to out-of-town games. Out-of-town games. I did every stadium in the Pony League. I went to Batavia, Hornell, Wellsville, Olean, Bradford, Hamilton, Lockport. Did I leave anybody out? I don't think so. The Pony League at that time. Yes. And the broadcasting booths, Greg?
Yeah.
Very interesting broadcasting booths. They really weren't what you'd call the modern day booths. The one in Lockport was like a little shack for just two people to sit in. And it was just enough room in there to have two chairs, and then there was a counter. I'll never forget starting the game, and then it rained. And the rain was washing away my scorecard. Because there was no room. Literally no room. And there were other wonderful incidents, of doing games from other broadcasting booths. Hamilton, Ontario was a booth way up over the stadium. But that's when Greg Malevy, Jake Pittler, you talk about Jake Pittler. Sure, there was Don Zimmer in the thing, and of course some of the great names from the 5-0 game. I'll never forget it, because it was shortly thereafter, after not following his career much, but all of a sudden he's on the roster of the Detroit Tigers. Was Frank Larry. Remember, he became a 20-game winner for the Tigers. I did a game where he pitched and won 5-0. And it's just amazing when you think of the personalities you were involved in. I still take the attitude of going to work thinking it's the first day. Yeah. And I'll do what I can with it and make it exciting. I do it, Greg. I'll end by saying, you want to bring out the personality of the person.
Deans in Western New York sports radio was Ralph Hubble, Pete Hubble's father. And he put this journey down history lane in perspective.
That you shouldn't live in the past. It's dangerous. But to visit it is just a wonderful experience.